She said it lightly, almost playfully, as if the sentence wasn't meant to split something in me. "I'm going on a girls' trip. Don't text me for a week. I need to feel single." I remember the way she didn't look at me when she said it, the way her hand hovered over her phone, already half gone, half elsewhere, and the way my pulse didn't rise, not even once. Because shock doesn't always come loud. Sometimes it arrives like frost. I stood there in the doorway, nodding slowly, watching the woman I thought I knew zip up a bag she didn't let me pack, a bag that smelled like new perfume and something colder, anticipation. Feel single. The words kept circling, scraping the inside of my skull. Not angry, not confused, just aware. I didn't ask questions, didn't protest, didn't argue. I simply said, "You got it." And in that tiny pause before she smiled, I felt something shift. A click, a lock, a quiet understanding that this wasn't a vacation. It was a test of how deeply she believed I would tolerate being treated like an option. She didn't know she'd just handed me the cleanest exit I'd ever prayed for. By midnight, I was packing her bags, the real ones, the ones she left in my house, and I wasn't shaking, not even a little. The betrayal didn't need to be spoken. It lived in the details. The sudden gym nights she never sweat from. The new lingerie she never wore for me. The late texts angled away from my eyes. The laughter, too soft, too private, when she thought I was asleep. I'd been drifting in denial for months, pretending the strange scent on her clothes belonged to some imagined coworker's cologne she'd brushed against. Pretending I didn't hear the quiet sigh she exhaled before answering my calls, like she was slipping out of someone else's arms. But that night, the truth didn't feel theoretical anymore. It felt handed to me, gift-wrapped in disrespect. No one who loves you says they need to feel single, not unless they already are. When the front door closed behind her, the silence wasn't painful. It was clarifying. Like walking into a cold room and finally breathing air that isn't poisoned. I sat at the kitchen table, hands flat, mind still. Her words replayed again and again, not as an insult, but as information. She thought I would wait, sit quietly, be the loyal placeholder until she came back tan, guiltless, and certain I'd be grateful for her return. But the thing about betrayal is this. When you finally see it, you can't unsee it. You can only decide who you become next. And in that stillness, something inside me answered for me. Not this man. I didn't confront her. I didn't accuse her. I didn't announce that I knew. I simply became observant. Her phone? She'd grown sloppy. Screenshots of hotel confirmations tucked behind deleted conversation threads she thought I wouldn't piece together. A ride-sharing receipt. A saved contact under a woman's name that didn't match the profile picture. It didn't take much. People lie loudly, but their devices whisper the truth. I wasn't hunting for pain. I was collecting facts, verifying what my body already understood, but my mind had refused to say out loud. By the second day, I knew enough. Enough to recognize the trip wasn't with girls. Enough to see the pattern of calls she made late at night. Enough to know she'd thought she'd get away with it because I'd always been gentle, patient, predictable. Predictable men make the cleanest targets, until they don't. While she posted beach photos cropped carefully to hide whose hand rested just outside the frame, I changed the passwords to the house systems. Not out of cruelty, out of necessity. A home becomes unlivable the moment someone contaminates it with deception. I moved her things out quietly, folded, not thrown, packed, not tossed, locked, not slammed. Her parents didn't ask questions. They knew. Parents always do. I placed the luggage on their porch, nodded once, and left. Simple, efficient, undeniable. By the sixth night, the house felt clean again. Empty, yes, but clean. And I waited. Cold, still, unreachable. She returned at 3 a.m. Of course she did. Guilty people always come home in the dark. They hope shadows will hide their choices. I watched from the hallway as she tried her key once, twice, a third time, each failed turn adding a tremor to her breath. Then the confusion, the panic, the whispered, "No, no, no." I opened the door just enough for her to see my face. No anger, no grief, just a clean, emotionless truth she couldn't escape. Her eyes widened, her mouth opened, but there was nothing she could say that wouldn't betray her. I stepped aside so she could see the empty spaces where her things once lived. "Where's my stuff?" she whispered. "At your parents'," I said, calm, measured, as if discussing weather. She blinked hard, searching for the man she used to manipulate. But he wasn't there. He was never coming back. She reached for my arm. I stepped back. But he wasn't there. He was never coming back. She reached for my arm. I stepped back. "Why would you? You wanted to feel single," I said softly. "I just gave you the space." Her face collapsed inward, like the truth punched through her ribs. She tried excuses, accusations, tears. None of it mattered. I wasn't listening for explanations. I was listening for the final crack, the moment she realized the consequences weren't negotiable. When it hit her, she broke. "Please, can we talk?" We just did. The door closed between us with the gentleness of a final breath. No slam, no theatrics, just closure. She kept knocking, kept calling my name, kept trying to resurrect something already buried. I walked to the kitchen, poured a glass of water, and sat in the quiet she once resented. For the first time in months, the silence didn't feel like loss. It felt like return. Not to her, to myself. Some betrayals arrive slowly. Some arrive wearing perfume. Some arrive disguised as a girl's trip. But this one arrived as freedom. When her knocking finally stopped, the house felt whole again. And the truth settled inside me with a calm I hadn't expected. I didn't lose her. I released her. Final line, I didn't lock her out of my house. I locked her out of my life. And it was the first door I'd closed without regret.